Here is some more poisonous plants, because I have a problem. This is Datura. It's known by a couple other names, such as Jimson weed and thorn apple. And I've actually made a video on this a while ago about somebody confusing this with just a really big honeysuckle. Don't do that. It is a member of the nightshade family, which I already did a video on, so it is not the same as, but it is related to belladonna or the deadly nightshade. So, same family, just different species, different type of plant. Again, these are a very pretty flower and often used in gardening and landscaping because they're a pretty big flower. They can get decently large and they look super cool. So there's a few different types of Datura. This one is called the Angel's Trumpet. It is pointing downwards. There's also the Devil's Trumpet, which is pointing upwards. Both of which are rather toxic, so don't ingest them, obviously. These plants contain yet another toxic alkaloid. This one is called tropane. In smaller amounts, tropane can cause hallucinations and delirium, but not the fun kind. In larger doses, it can cause things like seizures, as well as like general agitation and just kind of as well as hyperthermia. So that's the opposite of hypothermia. That means body temperature is too high, which is a problem because that causes your proteins to denature, and we like our proteins. This is another Datura plant. This one is the Devil's Trumpet, so pointing upwards. Anyways, I couldn't actually, Google wouldn't tell me the actual cause of death from Datura poisoning. Like, it can be fatal, but it didn't really tell me if it's due to, like, respiratory failure or cardiac failure or any of that. I do know that it does affect the nervous system, like most alkaloids. So I would guess that it disrupts the nervous system, which causes, I would assume, heart failure, but don't quote me on that because I'm not entirely sure, because Google wouldn't tell me, and I'm not planning on finding out myself, at least on me. Okay, so I looked around a little bit more, and it seems that Datura also contains a alkaloid called atropine, which can cause death due to respiratory and circulatory failure. So your blood stops going places it needs to go and your lungs stop breathing. So yeah, so respiratory or heart failure, I'm still not exactly sure, but probably one of those. So the approximate fatal or toxic dose of Datura is said to be like between 50 and 100 of the seeds, so about like between 10 and 100 milligrams. Now, Datura poisoning is survivable if treated, however, potentially it can cause long-lasting brain damage and like just cognitive and mental impairment after recovering physically from the poisonings. However, in larger doses, it can lead to paralysis, coma, and later death. And again, this can just be found. This can just be, like, obtained. It's like a landscaping garden plant, and I think that's fun.